Well, hello again everybody, and welcome to another demo. So as I mentioned in my little catch-up video, I wanted to do some tags, maybe do a couple of tags on this one. I don't really have anything planned, just playing really. I brought a few rubber stamps downstairs and I've got my yarns and fibres, a really nice assortment of embellishments and papers, and I'll show you some of the tags that I've kind of pre-prepared. So I just, as you've seen me do before many times I'm sure, I just take the plain manila tags, shipping tags. Excuse my voice, I'm fighting a cold, and so the papers I've been using have been these sort of vintage florals, which I just really love, and these are Italian papers and they're beautiful and kind of like Cavallini. It's not Cavallini, I'll have to look up the name and I'll write it down. And some of these are Seven Gypsies, some are Graphic 45. I believe this one is Paper Source, and they're the big tags. And then the smaller tags that I actually like to do, again, just the plain old manila tags. And then a lot of these papers are Seven Gypsies, and I love anything with text and this sort of graphic. I just love that. So we may use one of those or a couple of those depending on how the battery goes on my camera. And then what I also wanted to show you, I've been kind of sorting out in my basement lately, and I've been going through boxes of all kinds of supplies that I have. And I found these tags, which I did years and years ago, and I dyed them with some walnut ink. And I don't know if you're familiar with walnut ink, but this is the effect that it gives when you mix it with water and then you dye your tags, or you just spritz your tags. If I find my crystals, my walnut crystals, I'll have to do a demo. It's really, really fun. But if you just want that really funky vintage look, the walnut ink is really fun to play with. They're just regular tags. And what I tend to do with these sort of dyed tags is I just stamp directly on them. So I'll show you, like this is a tag that I created on a walnut dyed, ink dyed tag, and it's very simple, but I like all the layering on there. I'll do one of these, and then I've got the teeny tiny ones too, which are really fun to just make like little gift tags and everything. So these would be great for you know, if you're into steampunk or the sort of really old aged Victorian kind of look. So yeah, so we'll definitely use those. And then, as you might see over here, I've got some papers to show you, and this is Seven Gypsies. You've heard me talk about Seven Gypsies so much. This is one of their newer paper pads called Maritime. One of the reasons I got this was mostly because of my husband Joel. He loves vintage nautical and maritime themes, as do I, and this is great. Wait till you see some of these. Absolutely fantastic. I just love all the scripts and the old ads and the maps. And I love this little image of the yacht here, and look at this vintage sailing ship, and it's just wonderful. These would be great for sort of steampunky themes too. The other thing I like about this is all of their pages are double-sided, so you get a fair amount of each design. So there you go, there's some more there. Let me pop my tea behind here so then you can see. There we go. Oh, that's better. And there we go. Oh, I really love this because I love old maps, and I love it down here because of the sand dollars that I see here. And living in the Pacific Northwest, we see sand dollars everywhere on the beaches, so it kind of reminds me of being here. Let's see what other images we have. And then there's this lovely one. These would be great for backgrounds on tags and artist trading cards. And this one too. They've done a nice job again. And oh, okay, this is another one of my favourites. I love the old maps and atlases. And then if I turn this around, I love that you get the lots of little mini vintage maps on here. That looks like the United Kingdom right there. Okay, so yes, Seven Gypsies Maritime. This is the 8x8 size, and I can recommend it. It's very, very nice. I haven't used it yet. Maybe I'll get a chance to use it today. Okay, let's pop this over here. And excuse me while I take a sip of my tea. Okay, so let's start off with a tag that I'm just going to stamp on, and I'm thinking I'll show you how I do this one. So I just need to pick out one of these walnut ink tags. Yeah, that one works. And the stamp I used on that one is this tree stamp, and this is a Hero Arts stamp. And if you like it, it's a fairly recent one actually, 2013. And oh, it's item number G5838, and it's called Overexposed Tree. And it stamps lovely, as you can see here. So let's do that. I'm going to take my, you know I'm a fan of the VersaFine inks, so I'm going to take my VersaFine Onyx Black, and I'm just going to, there we go, stamp that up, and maybe I will stamp it just down in this corner, and press firmly. Oh, nice. Look at the detail on that. That's an amazing stamp. I love that. You could use this all year round. It makes a great Christmas card. Just pop little drops of glitter glue on the branches and it looks like snow. I've done that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I kind of need something here, and loving birds and tying it in with the nature, I'll use a bird. So let me have a look. Oh, you know, this is supposed to be for Valentine's, but the main reason I got this was basically because it has lots of lovely little images that you can use any time of year, and this is very sweet too. So I think I'm going to use, let's see if, yeah, I think I'll use that one. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is use my VersaFine Vintage Sepia ink. Oh, and I haven't even used this yet. Now, one thing to point out with Cavallini, as much as I love them, and I really do, the one little tiny complaint I would have is they don't cushion their stamps like you would a regular rubber stamp here. So you can see the difference. Sorry about that. You see the foam. What you could potentially do is gently heat the stamp in. We used to do this at the store, and we warmed the stamp in a microwave just a few seconds at a time until the rubber would come off a stamp, and then we would put foam on there. I'm not recommending you do that because I don't know how this would react, but you know, with a little practice these are not so bad. But let's see. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to gently tap. Now you see what happens, you get some ink on the edge here which you don't want. So what I would do before I stamp that is just take some paper towel and I would just rub that off, or you can do it with a Q-tip. Then it saves you getting that line on your image that you don't want. So I'm just going to stamp them there. There we go. Yeah, those birds are okay. They're not my favourites, but they'll do. Now the next thing I'm going to do is do the postmark, but I think I might do it this side. So the ones I used, again, this is Cavallini. This is from the Postal Par Avion set. So this is Paris, and I'm going to use the Onyx Black again. Now, shall I do it here, or shall I do it? No, I'm going to do it this side like I did on the other one. Yeah, and then take the postage cancellation stamps from the same set, the Par Avion set, and then just, there we go. And I do it quickly because I don't want it to look perfect, because that's how it would look, you know, if it arrived in the mail. So that's that. Now that's where I kind of finished with the stamping itself, because I quite like that. The next thing I'm going to do though is, you'll see I edged the tag to take away just the plain edging, so I'm going to do that too, and I'm going to use the vintage sepia again. This is a great way to finish off the tag before you put the fibres on. So what I'm going to do is just tap, and then what I'm also going to do is rub some of the ink over the ends here. There you go, so you can see it just comes over here. Okay. And it just sort of takes away that plain old edge. Okay, so I actually really like how that looks. Now you can obviously embellish it and put more words and things on there if you want to, but I think I'm just going to keep that as it is. And then the fibres, oops, like I've done on here, I'm going to take these fibres off so I can just show you how I attach the fibres. I like a little sparkle in there if I have some, which I always do, and then black is always kind of a good contrast. Sometimes I'll use 3 or 4 fibres, but I've just used 2 on this one. So what I do is I fold them in half, oops, and then I form a loop there by pinching, and then just basically take that loop and push it through the front of your tag. Find your 2 fibres with the loop again, take the front and then thread it through the loop, and it's just the easiest way to do that. And there you go. So that's just a simple walnut ink stained tag that's just been stamped on, but I like all the layers on there, and I like that. That would make a great bookmark or a really nice gift tag. So that's a stamped tag all taken care of to show you there. The next one I'm going to show you is a collage tag. You've seen me do these before, but I'm just so in tag mode at the moment that I can't stop making them. So I'm actually going to have a look through some of these tags and think, do I want to use one of these or do I want to do a small one? I'm not sure. So you know what I'm going to do next? Because I can't decide on the tag itself, I'm going to look through some of my collage images. Now these are images that are from my own collage sheets. So what I'm going to do is take a look at some of these. And I've got smaller ones here. Now then, what sort of theme do I want to go for? I actually like these altered fantasy images that I've created. These are from vintage photos, and then I really highly saturate the colours and add borders and alter them and put lots of fun things on them. I want something that's really happy, and I'm thinking, oh, now she looks super happy. I think we're going to do her, or use her, and pop these images back in the bag. And then I'm going to cut this one out. And where are my bigger scissors? Here we go. Alright. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just going to keep a little white border on the edge there. Okay. I guess she looks like a very happy person indeed. Okay, now do I want to keep the white border or shall I keep it black? Well, let's take a look at some of these tags, and no, that's too much of a clash. Now then, nope, none of these are speaking to me. Oh, wait a minute. Too pink. Nope. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a new tag to go with this image. So I actually have another paper here that I think might go. Let me just see. No, it doesn't go as much as I'd like. So let me open I have a box here that you can't see, but I'm going to show it to you. This is full of just papers that I save, that I'm always cutting out, and I never throw anything away. So I'm thinking I like a few of these actually. Nope. Okay. I think I found it. See, that's just colourful and fun, and I quite like that. So I think we'll do this. Now, here's something interesting. This is really thick. It's thicker than the tag itself. So what I'm going to do is not use a manila tag, but just cut a tag from this and use this as is. So I'm going to take my paper trimmer here, and I'm just going to trim off the edges here. What I like about doing it this way is that you can kind of customize the size of your tag to go with the image that you want to use. I just want to straighten up these edges. Okay, now then, I just want to pop my image on there to give me an idea. I think I want it to be about that wide. Yeah. I told you I hadn't planned any of this. And then I'm just going to pop over here. I think I want it to be about, yeah. Okay. That's going to be my base of my tag. And it's just plain white on the back there. The next thing I'm going to do is cut the edges off, and I just want to try and get them roughly the same. Now the only thing I haven't brought down with me is my hole punch to do the hole here, but that's okay, we can pretend. Okay. So I think that goes quite well there actually. It's very happy and jolly and very nice looking paper. And I'm just going to take another sip of my tea here. Okay, so let's get rid of those for now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is think, is there something else I want to put on here to, you know, make more layers? I'm not going to use rubber stamps on here. I'm just going to use papers and embellishments. So I like this kind of central. I don't normally do central, but I quite like that fairly central. What I want to do is put a strip of something here, and I already know, I've just seen something that I think would look really great. And it's, yeah, let's see, where did it go? I don't know if this is going to be wide enough. So this is cardboard that's just been corrugated, and I like this just to add extra texture. Yes, I think that could be quite fun actually. So I'm going to take some double-sided sticky tape. Okay. And I'm just going to lay this at the bottom of the tag. I know it looks crazy, but you'll see what I'm doing in a minute. Okay, I'm going to do this, turn it round, and then just trim off the excess. And the corrugated cardboard is really thick, so you do need a good pair of scissors to cut through it. I like using this corrugated cardboard because it just adds really interesting texture. There we go. So I like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is look at my image here. Now I can slide that in there like an envelope. Or an insert, not an envelope. Okay, I want to maybe lift her up. You know what, I'm not so sure about the white border now, so I'm just going to trim that off a little bit more. I don't mind leaving a little bit on there, but it just looked a bit too much. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is decide, do I want to mount this onto something else to make it pop a little bit more? So I'm actually thinking of using something gold and shiny. In fact, I have this the Reynolds sandwich foil, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to roughly just put that on there. I'm going to tear it. Okay, make sure I've got enough to go under there. Okay, and then a little bit more. Okay, I know it looks like I'm covering a lot of the tag up, but that's okay. See, I like that. So what I'm going to do is use the double-sided sticky tape and just pop a piece of that in the centre back of my main image, and then I'm going to pop that onto the middle, pretty much the middle of the foil. Oops, went over that side a little too much there. Let's try again. That works just fine. The next thing I'm going to do then is slide that under. Oh yeah, I like that. It looks interesting. It's a little different. Okay, so now I'm going to pop a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, and then I'm going to just slide that underneath. There we go. This is kind of a crazy looking tag. I wish I'd remembered my hole punch. Never mind. We'll put the fibres on after I've done this. So the next thing I'm going to do is think, well, is it missing something? And I'm thinking words. It definitely needs words. And this is where I think that I'm going to put the words over the corrugated cardboard here. So I just need to find like some really good, like a really good phrase or a word. Let's take a look here. Something that's jolly and happy and positive, which you know me, I like to do that sort of thing. So let's take a look here. Aha. Okay, I think I've already seen it. Live with a song in your heart, because she looks like she's singing and dancing. I actually like that, so I think that goes really well. Okay. So let's just quickly cut that out, and then I'll trim it off even more when I've... Okay. Take my smaller scissors, and then I'm going to... Normally I would cut these out individually, but I think I might just do two. Let's do it a little closer. There we go. Whoops. Okay. See, that's a bit too long, so I'm going to put live with a song in your heart. And if I do it that way, but now I don't want the edges to be just plain white, so I'm going to take my vintage sepia, and I'm going to just edge the words with some vintage sepia. It just takes away that plain edging, you see. There we go. And these words are from one of my own collage sheets as well. There we go. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is adhere those to the cardboard, and I think I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape again. And I'm just going to stick that on the back there. Live with a song. I really like that phrase. In your heart. And that could be suitable for anybody. You don't have to be a singer or a dancer. So the next thing I'm going to look at doing there's something missing and I think it needs embellishing. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking my trusty little container full of sparkly goodness, rhinestones, sequins. Now, I think this is calling for a star, so I think we need a star on here. And what colour star should we use? I'm just going to tip some out here. Ooh, a red star would be fun. How about there? And then maybe a gold somewhere up here. And then maybe a blue here. Let's mix up the colours. Okay, let's try that. I'm just going to grab these, pop them back in here. I may add some more sparkly stuff. My glue stick, there it is. So I'm just going to take my glue stick and pop a little glue stick on the back of each sequin. These are just little star sequins. Uh-oh, there we go. This should hold. If this isn't the strongest glue, then normally it's pretty good on lightweight things like sequins, but you can always use a little bit of Crafter's Pick glue too. And let's see, with that going on corrugated, it might not stick as well. Ooh, sticking to me. It doesn't want to go on the tag. That's not sticking, so let me pop a little more, a good chunk of glue on the back of that. Now, I feel like it could do with something else. Let me think, what else could we put on there? Or do you think it's done? Let's see. Maybe a bit of glitter glue on just around the edges somewhere. I'm hoping this isn't going too blurry. I'm testing out my new camera and I'm still figuring out the settings on it. Let's sparkle up her dress. Oh, there we go. And the little dots around her too. Okay. Now I'm sorry I can't get the hole punched in here so I could do the fibres, but I think she's pretty much done, and I think that once she's got some fibres on her she'll look fantastic. This is one I did earlier on an earlier demo that I filmed, and unfortunately when I played it back it was all blurry, and I'm hoping this one isn't, so fingers crossed, but I really like how she came out too. Okay everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that was okay, and I will be back again soon. Take care everyone.